Now, there is this stranger who came to Rome, and he became a king. And his name his actual name was Lucumo, but when he came to Rome, he gave the Romans a very different name that he ended up going by. I'm trying to find. He came to the Romans and he gave them the name of Lucius Tarquinius Priscus. That's the name he gave them when he came to Rome. And this is a very interesting character. And we are going to look at who this person was in this video. Now, I welcome you to my YouTube channel where I explore ancient texts. And ancient texts here, I mean texts that have been around for thousands of years. And at the moment, I'm going through the book From the Founding of the City by Titus Livius, or Livy. It's a collection of books that he wrote about 2,000 years ago. They are often together called the History of Rome, the History of Rome. So if you've not subscribed, subscribe so that you don't miss any of the videos that I upload. Plus, it also helps me reach a bigger audience. Now, there is this guy who comes to Rome, and his name is Lucumo, but he gives the Romans a totally different name, and he ends up becoming a king. Now, what really happened here? Now, this guy he came from the land of Etruscans. Now, Etruscans were a tribe of people that were in the neighborhood with the Romans. But he wasn't actually from that place. He came from a town. Of course, there are many towns that the Etruscans lived, but he came from one that went by the name Tarquin. Now, he came from a town of Tarquini, but he wasn't an indigenous of that place. Livy tells us that he was a son of a guy by the name Demaratus from Corinth. He was a Greek. Now, when I saw the name Demaratus, I was excited initially because I previously have read histories by Herodotus, and there's a Demaratus there, but I went checked, the Demaratus mentioned there is a Demaratus from Sparta, but I have my suspicion that it could be the same individual. Maybe there was an error, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm thinking, I have suspicions that this Demaratus could be the same Demaratus that Herodotus mentions in history, even though Herodotus tells us he was a Spartan, and Livy tells us that he was from Corinth. Anyways, now, Lucumo was the son of Demaratus. Now, Demaratus came to the land of Etruscans and he married a local woman, and he had two kids. Lucumo was one of the two kids. The other one was called Aruns. Now, both married local women from Tarquini, but Harun died. He died young. Not long after that, his father Demaratus dies. But Harun leaves behind a wife who was expectant. When he died, nobody knew that the woman was expectant. And in fact, when Demaratus dies, he is not aware that his son's wife was expectant. So he doesn't leave any inheritance to that child. But that child is going to play some role in how Rome, the politics of Rome at some point in future. But at this point, we are talking about his uncle Lucumo. Now, Lucumo is in Tarquini. He's married to a local woman. But since the time his father came to that land, the local people had never embraced him or accepted him to be a local, like to be part of those people. They still saw him as a foreigner. And even when these kids were born and brought up there, these kids were still seen as foreigner, even after marrying local women. So Lucumo, his wife went by the name, I'm trying to confirm the wife's name. His wife, anyways, I'll find her name. His wife went by the name Tarquin. Tarquin told his husband, Lucumo, that, we live amongst our people, or my people, but they've never embraced you. And I don't think they'll ever embrace you or accept you to be part of this community. So I think what we should do, we should move out of this place. We should move out of Tarquini and go somewhere else. And he told her, I've heard of Rome, and Rome is very accepting of people from all over. They've even had kings who are not Romans. Of course, here he meant Pompilius was not a Roman, an original Roman. And even the others that came after were not, you cannot really classify them as original Romans. So anyway, Tarquini not Tarquini, the wife of Lucumo tells Lucumo, her name is kind of like difficult for me to remember, that we should go to Rome. And they pack everything they had. Lucumo was a very successful man. He had a lot of property. Of course, he had also inherited some things from his father, Demaratus. And they pack everything and they start moving towards Rome. On the way, a vulture comes and takes his heart, and then it goes with it, and then it brings it back. And that was a good omen, according to the wife. The wife told him that that's a good omen, that good things are going to happen to you when you reach Rome. So they go to Rome, they reach Rome, and they find a house, and they started staying in the house, and Lucumo starts making friends with people around. He became very good at making friends with people around. He made friends. He became very successful, even more in Rome, and somehow he managed to get the attention of the king, Ancus. By then, Ancus get to hear about this guy who came to Rome, and he's very successful. He's very knowledgeable, and he goes and he meets the king, and the king makes him one of basically his advisors. He also makes him one of the people who kind of like teaches his own kids. So that's how he came into the palace. That's how Lucumo gets into the palace. And while there, he builds this network in the entire of Rome of people who really ended up respecting him and liking him. And that goes on for a while, because Ancus ruled for how many years? Ancus was in power for quite some time. I might have missed that, but it's quite some time. And at some point, Ancus is dead, of course. And now there's need for a new king. And Lucumo goes around campaigning amongst the people, talking to them, telling them why he should be the king. And they listen to him because they already come to know and like him. In the end of it, he's elected to be the king, and he becomes the king of Rome. But he never went by the name Lucumo when he was the king of Rome. He went by the name of Lucius Tarquinius Priscus. So that's how a stranger came from outside Rome and became. But you can say Rome was very accommodating. Rome was a city that accommodated anybody who came there and settled there, had every chance of becoming even king. So it wasn't like it was something very, you can say, unique. It's something that it was Rome. That's how Rome operated. But this guy saw an opportunity from a place that he was not appreciated, and he moved to Rome, and he ended up becoming the king.